Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming. My name is Maureen Sander. I'm talking to you today about the revolution that never happened. Feminists have achieved many great things in our country. The right to vote in 1920. We've seen much increased political agency and economic security for women. More and more women politicians. But one thing that feminists have not been able to achieve in our country is equality in and support of caregiving. So I'm framing this as a feminist issue because it is still largely women who perform this work or individuals who are characterized as feminine. So why is that we have not achieved this revolution in this country? I posit that it's because we have sought sex and not gender equality. In other words, we've looked to integrate women into traditional male forces without encouraging and supporting feminine type individuals. In our country, for the most part, caregiving is an individual responsibility, either of families, as you can see in the center picture, or if you look at the black and white picture up in the left-hand corner, more often individual women who are left taking care of this activity and these practices. Now, the exception is, of course, unless you are able to economically be able to command care services. So this seems to be the area that we have developed support for care. It has certain promises, but also certain problems with that. I argue that care should also have a social element, and in this country no longer be viewed as solely the responsibility of individuals or families. It does take a village in order to accomplish equity in this field. Now, Americans, I want to suggest, do rightly value ideals such as independence, liberty, and freedom. I don't want to demean these in any way, but the downside of these is that in valuing freedom, sometimes we create the freedom to be hungry, or the freedom to starve, or the freedom to be homeless. And these values also obscure other values that are equally important: interdependence, bodily frailty that all human beings will experience from the beginning of their lives till the end of their lives, and the persistent need to give and receive care. Like mothers, so this is a classic tintype technique of photoing children, where women, mothers, were used as the backdrop to their children and then cut out of the final picture. I suggest that like this technique, mothers and caring has been backgrounded in our society. Of 39, actually it's much more than that, of hundreds of developed countries, the US is one of 3, actually it's 2, that does not provide paid maternity leave. So the other country that does not do this is Australia right now, Papua New Guinea, and Swaziland. The USA is also nearly alone in providing no paid family medical or paternal leave. So again, if we're trying to encourage gender equity here, it would seem that we want to try to encourage that this practice be more equally distributed. Thirdly, the USA stands nearly alone in providing no secure health care provision. Now, under the Obama's plan, we would have required health care provision, but required health care provision does not guarantee health care provision. Now, all of this can be very stressful, not only on mothers, but also fathers and families. I heard last week that they have shown that mothers and women are going prematurely gray compared to their predecessors, and I can't help but speculate about whether that has something to do with all the juggling that needs to go on for people who are responsible for care. Furthermore, care is an economic issue. Many of you may know about the wage gap between men and women. This really is a mommy gap, because women without children make about 90 cents to men's dollar. Women with children make 73 cents, and if you're a single mother, you're likely to make about 53 to 65 cents to a man's dollar. Furthermore, care is related to poverty for women in old age. It's the #1 predictor of poverty in old age for women, largely because women, especially of the older generation, did not receive Social Security in staying home and taking care of their kids. As a political asset, fatherhood is seen as a good quality to have, as this classic photo of JFK with his children romping in the office shows. This was considered endearing, sign that he was a competent but also competent father. But for mothers, it's a political risk. So you can look throughout history at some of the women who were considered most astute as politicians: Queen Elizabeth, Janet Reno. Jane Swift was a woman in Massachusetts who was governor, was found on ethics violations for using a state jet to transport her child. Mother Grizzlies, kind of risky. What vision do I have for the future? I want to argue that we need to recognize care as a basic practice of human maintenance and try to accomplish equity not only between the sexes, but also between the genders. We need to look to share care, not only between men, so the quote, the feminist movement has helped open minds and kitchens to the notion that men can be at home on the range. I think more and more men are doing this. But this shifts. It does not alleviate these burdens. It merely shifts them into the laps of individual men. We need practical change. We need to make the distribution and costs of care equitable and reasonable. A simple policy change could be getting schedules more consistent with one another. Spring break, work hours, school hours. I argue that in the United States, we need on every level, on every institution, including the university, we need a care movement and we need a care revolution. Thank you very much.